Hi guys, my name is Mitchell Gupton, and today we are on the affirmative to discuss homeschool reform. The reason why we're discussing this process here is because there's a major significance claim here where there is no federal-wide regulation in regards to homeschooling in the United States. Each state has a different system for homeschooling. In regards to states like Texas, Texas has an extremely limited regulation where you just have to notify the school district with your intent to homeschool your child. In New York, you have to pass background tests. You have to ensure that your child is passing progress reports and following a certain curriculum. And in California, they classify all homeschools as private institutions, which means they cannot be regulated by the government. According to federal data, the highest concentration of homeschooling families are in the South and the West, although precise figures are difficult to collect because many states, including Connecticut, Oklahoma, and Texas, do not require families to register with either the school district or the state education agency. In half the states, children who are taught at home never have to take a standardized test or be subject to any sort of formal outside assessment. So with the lack of regulation, we face two major problems here. One is abuse in the homeschool. Two is educational neglect. In regards to abuse, evidence shows that there's many instances where a child is pulled out of school is by parents intending to hide physical abuse. A study by the Coalition for Responsible Homeschooling found that in cases of child abuse, homeschooled children were at a greater risk of fatality than traditionally educated children. It is crucial to realize that while legal, homeschooling is with no outside intervention prevents a child from seeking help if they need it. One chilling case in particular involved a 10-year-old Roshana Jones, who was found dead in her home, where her mother was supposed to be providing a safe haven in basic education. Roshani was 55 pounds, and neighbors didn't even know that she existed because they'd never seen her outside. After she was pulled from public school, there was no home visits from officials, no follow-up exams or standardized testing to make sure she was learning. Her abusive parents had the perfect opportunity to make her disappear. That was by Jessica Huseman by ProPublica. The title of the article was "Small Group Goes to Great Lakes to Block Homeschooling Regulation." In the Coalition for Responsible Homeschool Education, they respond, when cases of abuse or neglect in homeschooling situations come to light, the neighbors frequently tell reporters that they don't even know the children lived there. Similarly, we have in the past been contacted by concerned grandparents who reported that their homeschooling children have been cut off with other family members and that the children were incredibly isolated. Abusive homeschooling parents' ability to isolate the children can make discovery of their abuse, even by relatives, difficult. So without regulation, these instances of abuse are largely hidden until the best case scenario when they're discovered by luck or happened upon by relatives or neighbors or sometimes a passerby. In the worst case scenario, it's found out when a child dies and is being investigated. In regards to educational neglect, there are instances where the parent is not providing adequate education for the required for their children, sometimes unintentionally. In one case, a mother named Vicki Garrison described her struggles with homeschooling saying, "Because I was so overwhelmed with life, it was a real struggle to do the basics. So it didn't take long for my kids to fall so far behind. One of my daughters could not read at 11 years old." And that was by the responsiblehomeschooling.org. Other times it falls hard on students looking to improve their own abilities in order to enter college. The Coalition for Responsible Homeschooling. Beth graduated from homeschooling so woefully undereducated that she was fired from a fast food job after fast food job, underqualified and lacking the skills for even that line of work. She ended up pregnant, homeless, and alone. Josh Powell reached age 16 without any experience in basic writing, geography, or mathematics. He begged his local high school to admit him, desperate to learn what was taught there, but his parents objected. Melinda Palmer and her siblings, all of whom were homeschooled, were barely literate, and by age 29, Melinda still hadn't been able to achieve her GED. So how do we address this issue? Our proposal is this: a national adoption by each state for stricter regulations in regards to homeschooling. By doing this, we can appropriately address issues of abuse and educational neglect. The plan follows as this. Point 1. The law would establish parents that are interested in teaching their children from home are qualified to do so by meeting their resident state's educational requirements. Subpoint A. The parent would be tested on high school level math, English, or grammar, and writing in order to be credited as a capable educator. Subpoint B, the qualifying educator must be able to pass a criminal examination, meaning that they possess no felonies relating to assault, rape, or murder. The now accredited educator must report curriculum, point 2. The now accredited educator must report curriculum they are presenting, students' records, and provide an annual progress report specifying the child's current academic performance. Subpoint A, should the annual progress show a declining performance for 2 consecutive years, the educator is placed on academic probation. Subpoint B, records will be submitted to the resident state's Department of Education for evaluation. Point 3, the homeschooling institution or home must allow a quarterly inspection by a social worker to evaluate the child's well-being and environment. Subpoint A, bless you. Subpoint A, should the environment be found wanting, the educator is put on academic probation and has until the next visit by the social worker to meet the environmental standards, lest their academic credentials be stripped. Subpoint B, if the child is shown to have been abused, the social worker must take the appropriate steps specified by his or her profession, to protect the child's interests, and the educator's credentials are revoked. By adopting these standards, we can assure that parents are educationally qualified to provide education to their children, do not show a violent or perverse trend that they can potentially inflict on their children, that children are actively receiving an education on par or greater with public schools, and provide an opportunity for children facing abuse to get the help they need in the form of social worker visits. To enact this plan is sensible and will provide adequate learning and safety for those being homeschooled. Thank you.